How you doing? My name is Mark. They call me Mark Gunny Stevens. Reason being, I am a retired Marine. I did 22 years of service. And I have been in Charlotte County, oh heck, about 22 years now. I took a short hiatus out of Charlotte County for about a year, back around 9/11, and I had to come back. But I'm glad to be back. I met my wife here, and I am married. I have 3 daughters. I've got 1, 2, I keep losing count, 2 step-granddaughters, 3 grandsons. So to say the least, my hands are full in that regard. Since I've been in Charlotte County, I have worked here for 20 years. Okay, I am a licensed real estate agent, so I do know the real estate market in this area. I also worked down at the airport, Eastern Avionics, who is no longer in business, which is why I left Charlotte County and went and worked for an avionics firm out in Texas and came right back. I also have done a lot of community work here as far as I'm a member of the Elks. I'm a past exalted ruler of the Elks, member of the American Legion, and done a lot of charity work in that regard, working with those particular organizations. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I miss it and I don't miss it. So the main reason I don't miss it is the weather and shoveling snow and raking leaves, and the other part is, as of today, you can't have a plastic bag now in the state of state of New Jersey. The governor went and passed this thing, no disposable single-use bags. Crazy. And that's the kind of craziness we don't need here in Charlotte County. So, my main platform here is I want the commissioners, I think their responsibility as per the flow chart that you'll see on the website, has Charlotte County citizens up here, the commissioners here, and then it goes down to the various different executives in the county. The thing I think that our commissioners now are missing is they don't think that we're here, they think that the citizens are here and the commissioners are up here. And it really annoys me because I did make an attempt to talk to them. That hasn't worked very well. Because I went to the commissioners meeting and with about 200 and some odd other people when they first started the Spring Lake Sewer project. And it was a standing room only. That's over here at the Charlotte County Center. And we all voiced our opinions on it. And it was kind of obvious to everyone, they already made up their mind. And even though we all said, no, please, do some more research on this, we want to go ahead and get this right, they unanimously voted to go ahead and put in sewers over in the Spring Lake area. Now, to be fair, part of that was state mandated, and they did have to do that along the waterways and stuff. But now this project now has become an albatross. I mean, heck, you're out here 10, 15 miles. I don't think you're polluting the waterway too much out there, okay? But yet, they're planning on sewer projects out there. The water bill, look at what you're paying for water here in Charlotte County. It's ridiculous. You water your lawn, it's going to cost you sewage and everything else. How dumb is that? I had a guy that put in floor-tan grass, and he goes, I have to water twice a day or 3 times a day for the next 2 weeks. He got his water bill, $600. I mean, that's crazy. He's paying for sewage. There's no sewage involved there. So, that's the kind of things that just irritate me and I think can be fixed. They had questions, I know, at one of your past meetings regarding the ranchettes. And it turned out the commissioner said, we went over there and we tried to go ahead and fix things, but they want this and this faction wants this. We couldn't get them to come together, so we just left it up to them. Well, I'm sorry, that's not the way it should be done. As your commissioner, you sit down at a table right here. You're not going to get everything you want, but what's your opinion? What's your opinion? Now, between that, there's a median somewhere in there where you guys can go ahead and come to an agreement. You won't be happy with it all, you won't be happy with it all, but you know what? At least we can get this thing started and get it fixed to the satisfaction, maybe 70% of what each of you wanted. And that's what a commissioner should be doing. He should be the leader. He should be the one that can bring the people together and take care of things. Not say, well, you guys can't agree, we're out of here and walk away. That's not the way it works.
Okay, well, we asked one particular question, the first one we always ask to everybody, and that's, what do you believe the proper role of government is at the county level?
Well, the proper role of not just the county, any government, is to be a representative of the people. You know, the job is not to go ahead and be leaders per se. You are actually the servants, the public servants of your citizens and your constituents. That's where it's got to be.
Okay, as a commissioner, what government programs, restrictions, rules, and/or ordinances that affect our personal or business lives would you fight to repeal?
Right now, in the times that we are in, boy, I tell you what, that's probably one of the toughest questions you could ask. A lot of people are proponents of the penny tax. I kind of was, and then I found out, you know what, and we can't do anything about that because that was brought in by the voters and they've already approved it. However, you think about that, many years ago when they first instituted that, it was, we're going to go do these projects that this extra pay is going to help out with. And one of them, like, was the boat ramp down here on Edgewater. That was great. They did a beautiful job down there. And that's my penny tax going to work. Great. Oh, but now you got to pay to use it. Well, then heck, then what's the penny tax going to? I mean, it just made no sense to me. It now costs me money to use something that I just paid for. I mean, it's really taken away the whole meaning of it. And I see that kind of money, not waste, but, you know, don't go ahead and feed us this and then tell us, oh, and pay for it some more. That shouldn't be the way it is. And there's no other, go ahead.
Questions to follow up, but specifically sales tax, anything else, any specific item that's, because we can't do anything about the sales tax, although you will probably be in office when they start the next one if you get elected. Mm-hmm. But anything else, any small things you can think of that the county would do that you would work to repeal, to get rid of, ordinances, anything?
I think they should do a complete review of our permitting processes too. I mean, the builders in this area have come to me and told me, my God, you know, not only do we have to pay amazing impact fees, which get passed on to the person that's buying the house or whatever, but worse than that, they get different rules from the people that come out and do their inspections. They come out and do an inspection and say, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And they got the hit list. And then, amazingly enough, this guy has the same thing, but it's a different inspector, and none of that stuff is addressed. I mean, heck, to put in a water heater here in Charlotte County. Hell, the water heater is only about, what, $250? But then you got to go ahead and pay another $80 for a permit, and you got to pay for an inspection. I mean, heck, my old water heater, you unplugged it and plugged it back in, and you were done. No, that's no good anymore. That's against code. It's crazy stuff. I mean, I don't understand where it's a revenue driver, I guess, but it's not really a way to go ahead and conduct business. And it discourages a lot of builders and stuff from our county.
So you believe code enforcement is out of control, and how do you think you can rein it in?
Well, code enforcement is not out of control. There is, again, if the code is the same code used by every inspector on every job, that's not it. But the fees shouldn't be as high as they are for the DIY homeowner. I mean, I've been working down at Ace Hardware, if anybody you know me from down there. We help people do things, but they end up running into all kinds of hurdles because of code.
You're talking about building codes.
Yeah.
code enforcement, when we mention code enforcement, usually people around here are thinking about things like a guy got threatened with a fine of $4,500 for having low air in his
Lower
tire.
tires, yeah, I heard that.
And
Yeah.
another veteran that got called to Afghanistan started to rebuild his house because it had been more than 50% damage the first time, made him pull everything out, even the foundation. And because he wasn't doing it quick enough, they were going to make him do it again. That's just some of the stuff they do. What was the other one? Oh, they stole a guy's jet skis and a bunch of his stuff. I mean, that's out of control, I think.
No, and that's you know, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You know, it just gets to a point where you say, where's the common sense factor come in? Okay, because it doesn't make sense a lot of times. And now a lot of places around here obviously have homeowner associations and everything else.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And that's a whole different animal. And they can enforce whatever codes they want, and they move there and they can pay their fees and have them enforce their own. That's fine.
So you're a Republican, so how would you come in and cut spending in this county and try to return some of the money to the taxpayers?
Well, one way was to go ahead and, again, go through Charlotte County Utilities, and they have to go ahead and figure out a way to go ahead and cut this thing with the, you know, let's double the water bill, and that's the way it's going to be. I mean, all your water you use isn't for sewage, and it's not all treated, and that's one. As far as cutting spending in the county, right now, we're pretty stable. The only problems I do see are future projects. And the future projects are the ones that I'm more scared about than anything else. That they're going to go ahead and talk about subsidized housing and this and that, or low-income housing, and no, not a great idea. But I just can't see taxing us even more for things that we don't really need. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have to ask, so you're okay with over $1 billion budget? That's what it is, it's over $1 billion.
Yeah, but it's going to be more than that, actually, eventually, because of the growth in this county. I mean, back when I first moved here, what do we have? About 100,000 people. Now we're more like 200,000. So it's going pretty full drive to go ahead and develop. And you know, if you see all the building that's going on around here, and with the cost right now of things going up, I mean, a great example for even cutting budgets. I hear a lot of people say, cut the sheriff's budget. Now, that's a great idea. We've got low crime and everything else, but you look what's happening. How much does it cost to put gas in your car right now? How many cars has he got that he's got to put gas in now? And the cost to do that is doubled. It's kind of hard to say, we're going to cut your budget. Well, heck, you'll see more of those cars parked on 41 just as statues instead of actually patrolling the neighborhoods. So there's going to be a few increases, and with the inflation and everything else the way it is right now, all the costs for building, wages with the $15 minimum wage, this stuff's all going up, and it's going to drive the budget that way, not that way, unfortunately. As far as cutting stuff, yeah, there's some wasteful spending in there, I'm sure, and that'll all be reviewed. But by the same token, the basic services, fire, sheriff, the schools, I think we're in good shape there, and I wouldn't be an advocate of cutting those.
Do you believe the commissioners should work as a team or as individual representatives of the voters?
Well, both. I mean, the commission has to act as a group, and they have to come to decisions. But by the same token, if you're representing District 4, I have to look out for what are my constituents telling me that they want me to pass on to the commissioners' meetings. You know, it's not what I think, it's what everyone else thinks, and I'm representing them. So, yes, and then when they all come together, by all means, the same thing. You have to go ahead and unite together, and you have to talk things out and come to things. Again, I may not get everything I want. The other commissioners may not get everything they want, but by the same token, you come to a plan that's going to go ahead and meet most of our constituents' needs.
How would you feel about, you know, when the sheriff's bringing you this budget and he has whatever allotments for spending in different categories, would you ever maybe insist, in order to pass the budget, insist on him maybe refocusing his priorities and how he spends money. So let's say there's things that he might be,
Who's he?
Purmell, I'm sorry, the sheriff.
Oh, okay.
Let's say the sheriff was allocating funding to focus on particular crimes or not crimes, depending on how you look at them. Would you ever maybe want to insist on him focusing on things that are actually a danger to others instead of the things that might be more frivolous, so that he actually brings you a budget you want to pass, instead of this, yeah, here's your budget, pass it on, and say, we're not going to pass this until you give us something we want to see. Kind of hold his feet to the fire a little bit,
Yeah.
insist upon things.
It's a great theory. Only problem with it is, sure, the commissioners can say, we're not approving your budget. Guess what happens?
That depends on you.
No. What happens is the sheriff then takes it and sends it up to the governor. The governor goes ahead and makes the decision, and it comes back and says, you're passing the damn budget. That's the way it works with the sheriff's department. So it's not a thing where you can say, you're not getting your money. It goes right up to the governor, and the governor goes ahead and says, this is all justified, and therefore that budget's going to be approved.
So suppose that's the case, but suppose that's the case, would you still want to stand on principle and not be the one to pass along a budget that would be against your principles? I don't know. I'm not saying they are. I don't want to speak
Right.
for you. But if they were, would you? I don't want to speak for you. So it depends on what your principles are like. Would you want to stand on principle and force stand?
Well, I think what you're trying to say is, would I go ahead and disapprove a budget because it didn't have certain things in it? I think more importantly, you sit down with the sheriff.
Yes.
I mean, that makes the most sense. You sit down with him and go over the budget with him. You got this, this, and this. And you can find out where he can possibly make cuts. Okay? You don't want to go ahead and try to force something down someone's throat and say, you're going to cut your this unit or cut that unit. I mean, let's face it. Me, I want to speak for Tom. I'm sure he feels the same way, though. He knows law enforcement a heck of a lot better than we do.
Well, that's why.
So he's going to go ahead and have certain things on his wish list.
Yes.
Like I need 2 new helicopters and
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and I can understand where I think that's where you're coming from.
Yeah, I was wondering, I agree with you. He probably knows law enforcement better, but there might be certain things that, for whatever principle you believe, shouldn't be in his purview. I understand you can push back on that. I'd welcome that too. I agree with you, but. There might be certain things where you would draw lines in the sand where this isn't where you should be, even if you think that's what it should be. We don't, or my constituency doesn't. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. And again, sitting down with the sheriff is the first step in that whole thing.
Yep.
You know, if he can say, hey, this is my budget, and this is why I need this.
You know that sheriffs in Florida do not have to do a line item budget. One of our guests, Anthony Sabatini, representative from up north, tried to put a bill in to require all sheriffs to do a line item budget, and it was disapproved by the rhinos, never got any place. So, you know, I guess what some people are saying is that the sheriffs and certain other statute officers, not statute officers, but kind of standard constitutional officers, have been given a free ride for the most part. They're not inspected. You don't really know what's going on because he doesn't have to tell you what's going on.
Well, I'd like to say that's 100% correct. I mean, the line item part is one thing, but as far as we don't know what's going on, it is spelled out in what they're using the money for, as far as this unit needs this for this, the budget last year was this, it's going up by 10%, or I say, like, if you told the helicopters and aviation, you know, the cost of aviation fuel is this, the cost of maintenance is this now, it's all going up. The cost of these facilities costs this, it's now going up to this, to heat and cool those units, all these different facilities. So, yeah, those are all things you look at, and these aren't things that he just throws a number out on the table. I mean, these are detailed what he needs the money for and why he needs an increase or a decrease, which I've never seen a decrease. But but you know what I'm talking about. They are gonna go ahead and have, it's not line by line thing, but it is there is categories they're putting the money towards.
Yes, ma'am.
You've mentioned serving as a representative of the voters several times, but when it comes to your decision-making process and how the voter has delegated their decision-making authority to you as commissioner, how do you best determine how to vote? And is it based on the most people who come to you and demand you vote a certain way, or that squeaky wheel mentality, or is there something firmer that allows you to make decisions?
It's an excellent point, and I know what you're talking about. Like I said, all these people show up at the doggone commission meeting, but how about the people that didn't show up?
Right.
Or couldn't make it, you know? There's two things here. One, I think the meetings are at ridiculous hours usually. They should be made after working hours so people that are the working slobs here in Charlotte County can make it to them. I had to take off from work to go to a meeting, just to go ahead and say, here's what I thought. And while I was there, I won't mention the name, but a commissioner's up there on his phone. And I was really upset. I said, you know, that's ridiculous. You know, have a little respect and at least show me that you're listening to what I'm saying. But my other idea on that is, I think that commissioners within their districts should have town hall meetings. Why not have, and you can have them at various times, like in here, or any place. But just go ahead and say, I'm having a town hall meeting, come out and let me know your concerns. Or this is coming up, and this is where the commission is leaning. What do you think? Because I want to know what the voters think, because those are the people that I'm representing. And you're right, you're going to get the same people at the same meetings on a regular basis. I'd like to hear the rest of the people too. So that's my idea, basically. Town halls that are going to go ahead and bring my constituents out, and then I can go ahead and be able to make an educated decision based on the decisions of, or based on the opinions of both groups. And I would basically go with the majority. Or tell them what my thoughts are, and here's why I think, and I might try to sell them on something. I think we should go this route, and here's why. And let them at least know what the heck it's all about. More things happen around here that you don't know, who the heck knows what's going on.
I'm wondering if, this is a simple one, I guess, like bullet point, like if you have an agenda of your key priorities of things that you want to affect change on, and you think you could be successful on potentially, in particular, what would they be? Like if you have like in my mind, like I hope I can really get this done, and I have a pretty good chance of this, or...
Well, I think the biggest thing that's on our agenda right now is really the planning of this county. I mean, we have got somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 undeveloped lots, which is a lot of growth that really we can't handle if it's not planned properly. There was a thing about Burn Store. They want to put 10,000 homes out there. I mean, holy crap. Count right now, it's almost a nightmare, even though they widened it, but it needs more. Well, before you say the 10,000 home plan, how about we work on the road plan to support that? Or if you're going to go out towards the road to account before you start the development.
Okay, this kind of links into a lot of it. So I'm a citizen that comes up and speaks before you, and I ask you and I say, do you really understand the proper role of government? Can you cut your budget by doing this? Can you cut the funding of boat races and airplane shows and cricket fields and pickleball and all the entertainment and the tourists? We have too many people and we're spending how much? Millions and millions of dollars to draw more people here when they're going to come here anyway. Why are we wasting? There's so much waste that is just not part of government. Even, I hate to say it, everyone's going to kill me, but even sports shouldn't be funded that much. That should be private. Because they got the cricket field, I want a jousting field. I think we should have a field for jousting. How come they don't have that? I want a roller skating rink.
Amongst the commissioners.
I don't want anything. Okay? I pay for
It
it
should be zero.
myself.
Beat me, please.
I pay for it myself. So it could be cut by a lot just for entertainment and sports. And none of that's not part of government. So if I'm a citizen that comes up, what are you going to do? Because the other four are going to be, oh no, spend. And I come up there, are you going to listen to me at all, or are you just going to listen to them?
No, I listen to everybody. That is one thing you always can count on. Now, as far as different entertainment venues, the air show,
Boat races.
yeah, whatever. What I would look at there is, all right, we go ahead and fund it with this. How much money is that bringing into the county? Well, I'm listening to you. At least you don't have to shake your head and tell me no, and I didn't even finish yet.
When you say into the county, what do you mean, like tax revenue, like government revenue, or like private revenue?
No,
Revenue for certain people.
no.
This is what I wanted to
No.
see. Yeah.
Okay, how many hotel rooms are going to be booked because of this? And how much of the are you going to have as far as taxes there? The sales tax, if it brings in so many people, you're going to get money from, hell, even from gas tax. Anything they buy in this county, you're going to get 7%. So all these things go into that. Is it an even payback or not?
Is that revenue neutral or revenue, like revenue positive?
Exactly.
For the county, if you're saying?
For government.
Yeah.
Government's making money.
Yes.
No, because you're right. I don't want to waste money just to say this is the place to be. No.
I guess the next step would be, for me, like, I'm kind of piggybacking on this, so if I'm thinking about it, it would be like, okay, so let's say it was revenue positive for the county. The thing that immediately goes to my mind is like, so they get more money, what are they gonna spend it on now? So what I'm wondering is, so let's say that was a revenue source, and that's preferable to me than property tax. Does that mean you're gonna lower the property taxes? You know what I mean? Like, how would you contemplate that kind of a balance? If you're better than revenue neutral, are you going to look to cut taxes in the other places when you're generating sales tax revenue, theoretically, or something that's more like an excise tax or sales tax instead of a tax on property? Would you maybe look to return some of that money if you're getting it from one place by promoting a tax positive situation? Would you put it back to the people in, let's say, property taxes or whatever else it might be?
No, I would love to see that, and that's, again, if something is going to be bringing in revenue. No, again, when you bring in revenue into the county, there's projects that things are already budgeted for. Okay, if you bring something in excess of that, and you're going to have a surplus. Obviously we do have a rainy day fund because Hurricane Charlie would be a perfect example of that. It's nice to have a cushion too. One of the questions I was asked, another thing was, if you got a $10 million grant, what would you do with the money? And I had someone say, that's the dumbest question I ever heard in my life. I said, one, you said grant. If it's a grant, it's already been targeted, it's supposed to go somewhere. I can't just say, well, I got $10 million, let's go ahead and play with it. Can't do that. So, it's not what you're saying is, I understand what you're saying. If it's something that's going to bring money back in above and beyond what we have or need, yes, it should go back to the citizens. Why? But instead of trying to find a new project to spend it on.
I just think of like the lottery. We're going to fund education more. We'll have a lottery, and then they give it to the schools. They cut the school budget and move it to another whatever project.
Yeah.
So back real quick to your town hall meeting.
Yes.
Essentially, districts in Charlotte County are meaningless. You only have to live in it, to run in it. You have to get the entire county to vote for you. The issue's probably dead for another 6 to 10 years. Would you be a supporter of single-member districts?
I like the idea, especially for the purpose of getting petitions and actually getting votes. If I was running in District 4 and District 4 was who I'm representing, I think they should be voting for District 4. Conversely, I can see the other side of the coin there too, where they say, yeah, but your vote affects the rest of the doggone county. Yeah, you're right, it does. But again, I'm only 20% of the vote. There's 5 commissioners. So to get to that 100%, each one of them has to be in line. So I don't think that the way it is run right now, I don't like it. I think District 4 should be District 4, and that's who votes for the District 4 commissioner. It's kind of like me voting for the governor of Georgia. I don't live there.
Exactly right. What would you do to limit the power of bureaucrats in our local government?
Limit the power?
Correct.
Well, the power is the people, it's not the doggone bureaucrats, as you put
The
it.
county attorney would probably disagree with that statement.
I know personally. I know personally.
And it's-
it before you did. I knew you were gonna go there, so.
No, the political process and again, as the budget and everything else gets more complex, fortunately or unfortunately, you have people that you have to rely on to go ahead and get a project done. Like, as far as building a road, doing infrastructure, you know, it's not something, that's not my expertise, you know, and they have advisors for that. But the advisors also, gotta be careful on that, because they're also the people that are getting paid, that are also giving contributions to the candidates. Don't like that.
John, did you have? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you.
Come on,
I thought
no.
you did. Tell us your opinion on Sunseeker. What they've done, what they might do, what else would you allow to be done?
Sunseeker is going to be a problem, I see. I guess the biggest problem I see with that is going to be the traffic part of it. The other part is going to be, well, the traffic and the parking. It's all going to, they really need to go down Bayshore more if they're going to go ahead and develop that thing. I kind of was not happy to see it because it ruined my view going over the bridge, and the sleepy town or city of Port Charlotte. It's just starting to get a little too overgrown. I don't want a skyline like that. As far as what they've done so far with the COVID thing, and they stopped production and they went back to construction. I didn't like that thing down there. This big structure looked like crap and just was an eyesore. But I think when it's finished, it's going to go ahead and it's going to be a nice resort, and then it's going to be a matter of whether or not the planning is there to go ahead and make sure that the traffic is evenly flowing over the bridge and back.
There's a bunch of little small businesses across the street from Sunseeker. There's a Chevron station, there's a little strip mall, there's even a little
There's a big
mobile home
racetrack
park.
there.
How would you vote when a group of people comes to you and says, we need to widen the road or something, so we need to condemn all that stuff, and in order to benefit Sunseeker, basically?
Are you talking about eminent domain then, or?
There's a group that's out there wanting to condemn the Chevron station for some kind of a cross thing or something. And it's a nice little Chevron station.
It is,
But the
yeah.
commissioners would have to allow that. Would you allow something like that? A
Well,
small business to be crushed for a bigger business that came in later?
Again, that falls into the zoning, and then you're talking about eminent domain, and I am not at all in favor of eminent domain.
It's for roads, though, but yeah.
We've already had that experience out in Murdoch Village.
Yeah.
No, I would not be in favor of.
Those businesses are not resort-style looking businesses. This is going to be a posh resort, and right across the street you got a little dumpies. And they should be allowed there.
I think what's going to happen, to be honest with you, is.
They might buy it.
Pardon?
Maybe they'll buy it. Good.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if Legion really wants it, they're going to go ahead and make them an offer they can't refuse type of thing, you know? And then it might become a, you know, it might go away, but again, it won't be, it will not be because of the commissioners.
So we're in a charter review year. Comes up every 6 years. Now they're talking about making it every 10. This year, term limits were one of the questions, or one of the things presented to add to our charter. What are your feelings on term limits for the county commissioners?
I don't think it's necessary, to be honest with you. Most of our commissioners, even myself, after 2 terms, that would put me at 74, 75. I don't think I want to pursue it any further. Of course, my incumbent that I'm against right now is 80.
For his 4th term.
Yeah. Well, he was only going to run for 1. That's what he said in his campaign.
That's only one more. And the other
Yeah.
candidate, or the other incumbent, who's going for his 3rd term, but he's actually been in there more than 2 terms because he was a part whip in there. He's been since 2010.
No, I'm not in favor of term limits. No.
Speaking of Commissioner Deutsch, he's a very experienced commissioner. He's got a lot of people, he's got 100 people volunteering to spread the word, a lot of bumper stickers, a lot of money from...
99 now.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
I just took one of his supporters.
So he's got a pretty powerful organization, and he's known, and some people don't like him, but a lot of people do like him. You've got Tom Sullivan who's running against him, and you're coming in kind of late in the game. You're going to split the vote. How confident are you that you have a chance to actually get elected?
Well, I'm not in it not to win it. So if that's your question, I'm very confident. You know, I think the people are tired of the standard politician. And if I had to go ahead and say, you know, I don't like to do a negative campaign on Commissioner Deutsch, but I'm sorry, the people I've talked to just don't care for the guy. He came into the hardware store over here where I work, and he comes out, goes to one of my employees and says, you know who I am? And the girl said, yeah, I know who you are. And you're gonna get the same good service we give every customer, and smiled at him. You know, that kind of arrogance is not what we need. You know, we need people that are gonna go ahead and be, again, listeners and doers. And I don't think Stephen's ever missed a photo op. And he's good at that. He's a good politician. I mean, heck, he's been in politics for eons.
Well, how do you
Rhode
differ
Island
with
here.
Tom Sullivan on the issues?
I'm sorry?
How do you differ with your opponent on the issues? Not Deutsch, but the other opponent.
How do I?
How do you differ with Tom on the issues?
I haven't listened to Tom, so I'm not really sure what the heck his opinions are on the issue. So that's kind of hard for me to give you a definitive answer. I know it's not going to be a problem when I go to the polls because I know who I'm voting for. That'd be me.
But, I mean, if he is basically has the same platform as you, why wouldn't you want to support him since he's been doing this for a while? Not that I'm, advocating for him, I'm just saying that the idea is if you really want to promote the programs that you want to promote, and he's already promoting it, then maybe, you could work it out so that whoever it might be the best one to run is the one that runs, and the other one can drop out so that at least there's a contest.
Well, I have not had an opportunity to talk to Tom, and I welcome that opportunity.
Oh, he's here. So.
I know. I said hello to him already. But by the same token, again, right now my decision is to run, and if he'd like to join my forces, he can do that too.
Okay.
It's not a one-way street here. I don't see anything right now that would prompt me to do that. But I'm not looking to split the vote either.
Say in the last 12 months, what decision do you think was the best decision that the commissioners made and the worst decision?
The best and worst decision that the commission's made?
Yeah, in the last 12 months.
I don't have an answer for the question. You got me on that one. I can't answer that one.
All right. How about, as a commissioner, what do you do to promote free enterprise and encourage more private business to come to Charlotte County?
Well, right now, I guess the biggest thing that they're trying to accomplish is to bring in more industry into the county. Great idea. The only thing that's a deterrent to these companies is the workforce. We don't have a very strong workforce and candidates to work in these particular places. So to bring in a big company like down at the airport area or going out Vermont Road, that area, great idea to bring them in, and for God's sakes, we are so convenient to the center of the state of Florida. as well as offering major highway at 2 areas and airport. Can't really get much better than that, and great weather on top of that. Low taxes, no income tax. So we have that to entice them. So how do we get them from here, get them from there? How do you get the workforce in here? And I don't want to go ahead and agree too much with it, but Chris Constance had an idea, and it wasn't really taken under advisement by the commission about someone wants to go ahead and buy 40,000 acres down by the airport and bring their company in. But they need people. And they're talking about, well, we need low-income housing. No. Chris's idea was to go ahead and expand, say, you want 40,000 acres? Why don't you get 60,000? Build housing there. The county can go ahead and work with them as far as getting them a tax break on that housing. It doesn't cost the county anything. And they're still getting the property taxes. They're also getting the revenue from new employees. Their new employees now have a vested interest in their housing. So now they're going to go ahead and have a workforce as well as a stable workforce that's got something most people don't get. Inexpensive housing just for being a member of that company. I like that idea, I really do. And I heard it from Chris, and I did reach out to him and said, hey Chris, love to talk to you about that. But he has not responded to me.
What is that tax break that you were talking about? You said that they pay property taxes, so they buy the 60,000 acres. What is the tax break that was offered to the company that you were suggesting?
What I would suggest would be, you go ahead and still collect the revenue you're getting from undeveloped land taxes.
Oh, okay.
And give them like a, I don't know, put an arbitrary number, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. We're still getting the same revenue, but it's solved the problem. And that's, I think that's a win-win. The county wins because we ain't getting into the housing industry. Our taxpayers aren't funding it, and we're bringing in a stable workforce. So I mean, that just seems to me like a way to go instead of building low-income housing.
Commissioners seem to be very focused on buying and selling real estate at a loss. What's your feeling on the commissioners being involved in the real estate business?
They shouldn't be there. That's a pure and simple one. Again, we've learned from our past mistakes, and for the most part, we've learned from our mistakes. And the only time I would see that buying up any kind of land or something like that the county would be interested in acquiring would be in places like around the airport, because that's expanding like crazy. If you've ever flown out of there on a Legion or wherever, you know, the parking has grown to whatever.
What would you want them to buy it for and do with it?
Well, again, if it's property like down by the airport, that is something that's going to go ahead and have interest from other commercial enterprises. They're going to want to buy up that kind of land. Look at Jones Loop, how that built up, and just look at Toledo Blade here, how that built up.
Right, but that's private industry, private market, private
Exactly.
people. Why would we even want to entertain the idea of the county buying that property?
Again, for the airport in particular is one I was just really referring to, was for the airport to be able to expand, it may have to go beyond its present parameters. It might have to go ahead and acquire some land there. Again, if it's available, not eminent domain.
The state of Florida does have some legitimate authority over local government, but what will you do as a commissioner if and when the state of Florida proposes an entirely unconstitutional mandate or any unpaid mandates on Charlotte County?
Did you have a question back there?
Go ahead, you go yours first before this last one.
All right,
You can think
I
about
have 4 kids between 11 and 16, and my question is what their future in Charlotte County looks like in 5 to 10 years. What does the modern American dream in Charlotte County look like?
I personally feel that we're going to grow, and the opportunities in this county are going to grow with it. We know over the years, we started off with a lot of mom and pop stuff. We're getting more of the Walmarts and this and that. So you're getting a lot of businesses in the area now that of course are offering better pay, better benefits, this and that. I see that's going to be the future of Charlotte County. We're going to start seeing bigger companies coming in here that want to go ahead and make this their home, which is going to go ahead and create opportunity for your kids, my grandkids. My kids are too old to get any more. But no, their future looks bright to me in Charlotte County. I think they're going to, it's a safe community, and the opportunities I think are going to be endless over the next decade.
You remember the last one I just asked? You want to rip through that one again?
Oh, state mandate.
State unconstitutional state mandates. What are you going to do? Ron DeSantis won't be the governor forever.
The key word you threw in there was unconstitutional. If it's unconstitutional, it can be adjudicated in the courts. And that will determine whether it's constitutional or not. You can't go ahead and say, we're just not going to do something that's not paid. We think it's unconstitutional. If it is unconstitutional, then we don't have to abide by it, and it should go to the courts, and they'd adjudicate it.